the studio of your mom's basement comes a podcast by two idiots in a revolving door of legends and has-beens from the oldest university in Texas. This is Purple, Gold, and Getting Old.
All right, we're good now.
Amen. All right. So, this is an episode I've been excited about. We're excited for the football season coming up, and we want to kind of celebrate and talk about a lot of the players that have made this fun over the years for us. So we are doing an all-time crew football draft. Here's kind of
and Andy's back, by the way.
Hey.
Yeah, that's right. And Andy's here. Yeah, if there's one other person I know who's like me, in that, like, if you give him an idea of like putting a list together or doing something, they will waste way too much time and take it way too seriously and do spreadsheets. Andy's the other person I know that really does. Garrett does too, actually, but I know he didn't on this one.
I do, but let me just let the listeners, watchers, whatever, know that when it comes to fantasy football type things, I am the absolute worst because I don't put any thought into it at all.
And that's why we love you. That's why we love you. You're an easy
gotta
win.
have a. Well, I would say it's a freebie. I usually beat 2 or 3 people in our league. I somehow am not last at all, like every year.
Well,
so, thank you, Zach Martin and Patrick Prazak. I love you guys.
So here's how this draft is going to work. We're going to draft 6 offensive players, 6 defensive players. From offense, we got to draft a quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end, 1 wild card offensive player, can be whoever, and then 1 offensive lineman. On defense, we got to draft 2 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, and 2 defensive backs. And then we have to also draft 1 kicker / punter. And then at the very end, we've got coaches that we will draft, that we'll kind of get into that.
I don't even know if I got all those. I just, whatever was in that Word doc Tyler sent me, I filled it out.
It's in the Word doc. All right.
I also want everyone to know these guys worked on this, like analyzed it.
Way too long.
Discussed it. I had to mute my phone and I opened it later and I literally scrolled 3 swipes before I could catch up. I spent 5 minutes during lunch. So we're going to see how this goes.
Well, I think the other thing we need to point out is we're not necessarily, although I am for the most part, but this isn't necessarily like this is the best all-time team. I'm going for that kind of, but it's also like, I'm also picking some guys that like, I just liked, I had good times watching them. If you want to just pick an old vibes team, that's it. If you want to pick a guy just because you had a great memory with them, y'all's freshman year in McLean, like whatever that is, like every selection choice is up.
And here's how spoiled we are. You could take any roster since the year 2000 and have a shot at going the distance with it. Like, it's not like you could put an entire roster together just from vibes and memories alone, and it would still go at least 2 rounds into the playoffs.
Absolutely. So we're going to do a snake draft format. So that means whoever picks first will go first, second, third. Then person who picks third will then pick twice in a row. So like, other than like the person who's middle, everyone's going to be picking like twice in a row. We'll figure it out. But I have a picker wheel that I found, pickerwheel.com.
Right.
Our sponsors
in technology to decide who will draft first. So here we go. I'm clicking spin.
Wait. Is that a real company?
Pickerwheel.com. Yes.
Okay. They are not a sponsor. I was making that up. Don't need a lawsuit.
Garrett, you have pick number 1.
Yes.
Okay.
Now let me figure out who's going second and third.
I'm interested in knowing what you're going with first.
Andy, you're second, so I'm going third.
All right.
I like this. I get to pick twice in a row. First.
I'm gonna throw out a spoiler real quick. For the entire roster that I have, I did not draft Jarrell Freeman because I knew one of y'all would. So
wait, no, sir. That's not how this works.
Okay, enlighten me.
Now you can pick him now if you want.
Yeah.
Well, that's also because I thought about it after my lunch break, and I messaged.
Like,
man.
Everybody is open. You were putting, you weren't picking your people then.
There's a third reason.
Okay.
If you ask anyone at UMHB who their favorite player in history was, they're either going to say someone they dated or they're going to say Jarrell Freeman because there's a statue. That is the most basic answer. I love Jarrell, but like, I can't go basic with this. So
I feel like this is the time when the Chicago Bears didn't take who did what they took that quarterback from North Carolina State or whatever.
screw Chicago. Look at Houston
Well,
every
I know
year.
they took Justin Fields, and that didn't really work out very well.
This is the Raiders when they took that big running quarterback that was all I don't know. This is about to be a disaster. I love it. Going off.
Folks,
We're going off the rails already.
We're not picking the obvious number one pick. Let's go. I love it.
I will say I'm a Texans fan, and every draft is that way. Okay, I'm going to start off at quarterback, and every position I draft, I actually have 2 or 3 names I'm going to list, and then tell you which one I'm going with and why. At quarterback, I've got 2. Josh Signs, you're my boy. I love watching Josh Signs play. One of the coolest dudes. But I'm going to go with the only quarterback in UMHB history who hit me with a snowball, and that was Ladero Bailey. So
No, you took my pick.
Well, you take a snowball to the face next time while running around in a Speedo.
Oh my God. All right. So
this is great already. This is great already.
I am so distraught. This was my pick. This is my all-time favorite player at UMHB. But please go off. Tell us why you picked him other than the snowball in the face.
Oh, that was it.
Oh!
I'm kidding. No, he was actually really, really fun to watch. And other than the top 10 underhand arc Ladero
that was
play.
Great.
When he came in as a freshman, it was so exciting watching him. You had sophomore Kyle Nowak, who he was the one who was supposed to be in, and he didn't make mistakes. But then you had this guy who he'd make some freshman mistakes, but holy moly, was he lightning in a bottle so quick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And eventually, it took him that freshman year to really take the reins. But then that was his team for the rest of his career. And he had 2 great semifinal runs there in his junior and senior year where we lost to Mount Union and was Whitewater. But both years where we probably got shafted a little bit with seeding and should have at least lost to them in the Stag Bowl because we were clearly number 2 team both those years. And I guess it was 2011. It was the quarterfinals versus Wesley who'd beaten us a couple years in a row. And he does he's the only person on this list who has a verb named after him. Laderaling was he did a bootleg around in the red zone, running towards the end zone, gets kind of tripped up, falls down and just flicks the ball and somehow scores a touchdown. It was on SportsCenter top 10. It was a huge thing. The local news was doing Laderaling. Everybody was Laderaling.
I remember
one of my favorite moments
when he let that ball go. I think me and everybody in the stadium just screamed, "What are you doing?" And then all of a sudden it was pandemonium.
So I was on the other end from y'all. That was the year after I graduated, right? Y'all were couch crew captains. Y'all were down on that end. I was on the end where it happened, and I was probably it was the 10, 15 yard line. I mean, I was way down there. So he was coming towards where we were. I think I was with I don't remember who I was sitting with, but basically he starts to fall over. And the moment I did the same thing, he starts to underhand it. And I'm like, what are you doing? I just saw where it was going. I'm like, he's about to pull this off.
From our angle, there was a guy in front of him, from the receiver. And it was what are you doing? And all of a sudden it just went right over that guy and bam, right into his hands. I was like, wow.
Again, we're spoiled. It's not like we would have lost, but we still don't want to throw anything away.
No national championships for him, unfortunately, but he still got the all-time pass touchdown record at 67 for a career. So and then here's what's crazy actually about his stats when I was looking them up. So he's first all-time in pass touchdowns. He's top 3 and 4 and a bunch of other kind of pass categories. But if you look at the rushing categories, he has 3,500 rush yards all time, which is 4th. For a university known for the running for a lot of time, a quarterback is 4th, and he's 3rd all time in rush touchdowns with 47.
That's ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
For all the children watching who were born after the 1900s, as they're saying now, we used to do the option left and option right in sequence so many times that we literally chanted it in the couch crusade. Go option left, and they'd option right, and they'd do it. I mean, that's how bored we were.
Oh man, fun player. Got to move on though. All right, Andy, who you got?
All right. Well, from the moment you told me that you wanted to do this, I had a player in mind.
Okay.
And I am not swaying away from that player. I even laughed. I talked to my dad about it. I said, we're doing this. Who do you think?
Shout out Ken Archibald.
He said the exact same player. And I'm going with running back Jarvis Thrasher.
Ooh,
yes.
Good pick.
Dude, his senior year, he's playing Mississippi College out there. 325 yards rushing on 12 carries.
Oh my goodness.
12 carries. I believe Quincy had 199 also in that game. So if he had been playing like just the entire time, he'd have like 500 yards. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And he, I think, is the most dynamic rusher we've ever had. And I just wish we could have gotten a lot further with him back then.
He was my number 2 for what it's worth.
Oh,
yeah. I never got to see him. His senior year of college was my senior year of high school, but I've seen some highlights. I've heard the legends.
And his name's Thrasher. I mean, come on.
What a
Exactly.
great game. I know. Exactly. All right. So I get to double up now for picks 3 and 4. So pick 3. I think, you know what? Like this, since my plan already got blown up, why don't I just go? He's falling down the draft. Nobody can understand it. I'm thinking Jarrell Freeman. Like I don't need to overthink this anymore.
See, I gave it to you. You can't be mad at me.
You know, and this is another guy that I never got to watch in college. He graduated the same year as Thrasher, so like right before I got there. But that's okay, because I did get to watch him in the NFL, which was such a crazy delight and joy to have a UMHB alumni, you know, getting to like introduce himself on Sunday Night Football, you know, Jarrell Freeman, Mary Arden Baylor. It was incredible. My favorite story of Freeman is it was Sunday morning at Temple Bible Church. And I sat in the section where all the college kids did. It was like a whole like third of the auditorium for the third 11 a.m. service. And it was the first game of the NFL season. And it was getting towards the end of service. And all of a sudden, everybody's phones start buzzing. And everyone starts looking and like patting people on the shoulders, saying, Jarrell Freeman just scored a touchdown. Jarrell Freeman just scored a touchdown. It was this crazy thing of like us all being in church and like figuring this out together and like letting everybody know. It was so cool, so fun. You know, defensive player of the year when he played here. I actually don't. My hot take with Jarrell Freeman is like, if you're only looking at his time at UMHB, like he's definitely one of the best. But like, I think I could name some more impactful people when they were playing in the purple and gold. But holy moly,
dude got jacked too later. Yeah, like he kept getting bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. Unbelievable.
I didn't even know this was a thing until today. He is a member of the Division III All-Decade team.
Wow. Yeah. That's impressive.
I also
didn't know that because I used it as part of my research, but
so I gave Andy's dad a shout out a second ago. I'm going to give Jarrell Freeman's dad a shout out because that dude was one of the best fans in the entire home side. Like you could hear him. Like it was like Tatenda. You could hear this one person anywhere and you knew who it was.
Yeah. So for my second pick, I'm going to go for, this one's tough.
Wait, I thought that was your second pick.
No, that was your first pick. Jarrell Freeman was my first pick. So now I'm going
we're snaking. My bad.
Draft, right?
My bad.
And so, it's between defense and offense, but I got to make a decision. I'm going to stick to the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to go Baylor Mullins.
Good pick.
Baylor, you know, he just a super versatile player. And here's where I'm going to play games a little bit. I'm actually picking Jarrell Freeman, Baylor Mullins as my punter kicker.
I figured that might be the thought process.
So I'm gonna save some other DB spots for some other people and pick him as a punter. Just super fun, super versatile player. There's one play for Baylor that sticks out in my mind, it's the Mount Union semifinal where we're going to punt it, and he just goes, or maybe not, and that wrapped up the game. And we were going to the first Stag Bowl since 2004, and lost my mind, got emotional, got excited. The rest is history. Baylor Mullins.
Cool.
Back to Garrett now.
Is it me? Okay, I thought it was me. We'll go with Andy.
Because wait, no, you're correct. No, Andy.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
So my second pick definitely had no idea that this was a thing. I'm going with a 5-time All-American. Yeah, you heard that right. A Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh, I know this one.
Gagliardi finalist.
Mm-hmm.
Jefferson Fritz.
Yeah, that's one of the best ever.
Technically, he's a 4-time, but he had 2 All-American votes in the same thing, one being special teams, and I was like, he's a 5-time All-American. Wow. Like, how awesome is that? And I just saw that and I was like, well, I've got to take him early because that's unbelievable.
Yeah. I think as far as like on the field performance, one of the most dominant, maybe the most dominant defensive player I've got to see in my time there, which started in 08. Since a freshman, he was just dominant. You knew he was special. When you look at him just physically, like, man, he does not look like a lot of other Division III athletes. He is unbelievable. I really think last year was his last year, right? He's not coming back.
I believe that's the case.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I think if we our best shot for another pro player, I would put to Jefferson Fritz. I don't know what he's working on right now, if he's trying to go that route, to be honest. But I think he has, if Jarrell Freeman could do it, I think Fritzy could too, for sure.
Nice.
All right, Garrett.
I am going to jump to my wide receiver core here. I had to pick between 3, and this was tough to narrow it down. One was David Wasserman, who, in case you don't know, could memorize and recite a poem just beautifully and eloquently in our Brit Lit class, whereas I could not. I was very close to going with Swerve and Irv because that guy was, multi-talented, could play any sport he wanted. But I have another one who could also play more than one sport, and I went with Patrick Oliver because that man was a tower above all players. We were at Howard Payne. The score was 1-0, and it got to the point, we're just chunking the ball up. You could tell quarterback's not even paying attention, just throws it. And P.O. just kind of trots out there, reaches up, grabs it, and the Howard Payne defender is just like hauling, just trying. And it's like, this guy is a man among boys, so I'm going with P.O.
I just remember that sign, we're throwing to P.O.
And
he's
there's
a
nothing
little bit
you
of
can
a
do about it.
precursor to Brandon Jordan, it feels like.
Very much so.
Yeah. All right, Andy.
No.
Yeah.
I think Garrett gets to go again.
Garrett, that's right.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You'll have to remind me that like 3 more times before we're done. Oh man. Okay. So I've got my wide receiver. I've got I think I'll just I'm gonna jump over to defensive back, where I also had 3 that were hard to pick from. Every position is like there are 3 that are hard to pick from. I had Javis Jones. I had to pass him up, but that was heavy consideration. Cody Harvey, because not only was he a good player and a good dude, but he's also a baller of a coach. So shout out to Cody. But I am going with Mr. Bryson Durrell Tucker because I still want his autograph. And Andy and I are still waiting.
Big Tuck.
Another player that like could really dominate the ball or dominate the game on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, started as a running back for a while as well.
And like I say with the lights, but just a good dude. Like, just a solid
great
dude.
Yeah, there's one play of his that just sticks out of my mind where like I think he had been a linebacker or defensive back, but Quincy got hurt. So they brought him onto the offensive side of the ball to be a running back. And it was probably an option left. I remember watching it from the old end zone.
Good guess.
Tiger. Yeah, it's a good guess. And then like he gets hit and he just reverses field, comes like 20 yards back, and then like 70 yards up the field to score a touchdown.
I actually remember that. I want the
great.
people listening to know the autograph thing. Bryson Tucker, I don't know how this started. Andy started, and I just kind of copied it. Every time we saw this guy on campus, we were like, "B Tuck, autograph. What's your autograph?" And it got to the point where we'd walk in the quad on the way to class, and he'd round a corner and just, oh no, he knew it was coming.
I love it. All right,
and then the whole okay. Let's see, where do I want to go now? I think I'm gonna stick with defense. and go with the Defensive Player of the Year, 3-time All-American Tedrick Smith.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That boy, he just dominated the field all the time.
He was constantly up in the quarterback's business.
Yes.
It was amazing. He was just an absolute terror to see. One of my favorite players to see. I'd love just watching defensive linemen terrorize quarterbacks, and that is exactly what he did. I remember Sam Riddle, who was the offensive player of the year for Linfield in 2016. He came to Belton. It was this big showdown. And that kid was just scared to death of Tedrick by the end of that season after playing it twice.
I thought he was going to be dead.
Yeah,
He was going to kill him.
Constantly all over him. Oh my God. It was hilarious. All right. Well, I got to make some picks again. So I'm going to go with 2 offensive players since I don't have any right now. And my first one, I'm going to make what I think is the greatest offensive player in Crew football history.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah. And that's TJ Josie. This dude has almost all the records for receiving. But he's done it while he played a half of the season as a quarterback too. So he could have had easily more. I've just one of the most dominant single players I've seen in D3. And he never really had the same quarterback twice. So it was just always him being dominant. Because he had Blake Jackson for a year. He had Jace Hammock for a year. He had the year in 2017 where we just constantly getting new quarterbacks. And he didn't matter. He's still getting his numbers. He was still putting his imprint on the game. Then my second guy I'm going to go for played at the same time. Also is a 2-time national champion. Also has almost all the records in his category, which is Markeith Miller at running back. Miller time was always a good time. He just let me pull up just something real quick. Yeah. So he's first all time in rush attempts. He's first all time in all-time rush yards at 4,500. He's first all time in yards per game at over 100. He's first all time in touchdowns at 65. When you dominate every single rushing category at a university, which has been known for having great running backs, you're one of the best. So that's why I've got Markeith Miller. All right. Now we're back to you, Andy.
Well, I think I got to go with a receiver here because everybody's kind of getting one already. So I'm going to go with the man who could not be stopped this past season.
Oh,
Brandon Jordan.
Yikes. Yes.
I hear he's coming back this year. I hope it's true. I'm hearing good things. Let's go for it.
Yeah. When I was looking at stats for this year, I was because we've only had Brandon Jordan for really 1 year. He is right now 10 touchdowns behind PJ Williams, who has the all-time leading record at 29.
That's insane.
He will easily blow past that this year, y'all, and be all-time touchdown receiving record holder in 2 seasons. Unbelievable. Great choice. Super fun to watch too, just because people don't know what to do with them. It's amazing. All right.
Not fair.
Garrett, back to you for the next 2 picks.
Yeah, I'm going down my list and I'm not sure. I talked a lot on the other side. The only one where I had one name was on linebacker.
Okay.
I put Gerard Jefferson because every time I walked past him, I was just like, this dude's huge. He's going to kill somebody. So, yeah, that's my simple answer.
Okay. What about your next pick?
What?
You got
to go again.
Oh, holler. Okay. Tight end. All right.
Okay.
So this one is really tough to pick between Trey Hazelton and Brett McGee, who is serving our country in the Air Force right now, but I'm working to get him on the pod. But I also have a third consideration, and I'm just going to throw it to this person because he's the only football player I've seen at UMHB who could randomly walk in someone's apartment, pick up the first guitar he sees, bust out Sweet Child of Mine, and walk out like it was nothing. Brady Inglemore.
Great pick. Total vibes pick.
Total
I love
vibes
it.
pick.
Total vibes. I love that.
You
Let's-
know, he's just a cool guy in general,
Yeah.
but it was always fun the way he would kind of play off the couch crew,
Yeah.
where on kickoffs,
dude.
he would always kind of point to us and be like,
Mhm.
you know,
And Brady, if
waving his
you're-
arm
if you're,
to his ear, I'm on a podcast, forget that.
Brady, if you're watching this, do your best, Jagger.
Yes, I love it. Fun pick. All right, Andy.
All right, back to me. All right, so I'm going to go with another defensive player of the year, two-time All-American, and I think the biggest, at least semifinal snub for the Gillardy Trophy, Javis Jones.
Ooh, yes.
I don't know how they didn't get him at least in the semifinals, if not a finalist. Doesn't make sense.
Now I feel bad for making him second on mine too.
All right. Well, let's see. What do I want to do here? I think I know what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and pick a quarterback. And this is a little bit tough. We've got a couple good options here. We've got multiple national championship winners. We've got 3 national championship winners left on the list, if you can believe it or not. You know, I think Blake Jackson probably has a claim to have the best single season ever at UMHB when you look at his numbers. But I am going to go with Kyle King. He's still there. And what's kind of interesting with him is he's another guy that, given this season, he could very well have his name atop the record books at UMHB. Let me bring it up here again real quick.
Sorry for moving my screen, Analyze. Just I'm on a green screen and all my dirty clothes are on the floor behind me. It's making me self-conscious.
Yeah, so Kyle King is 26 behind Ladero Bailey. He has 41, LD has 67. But I think King had 35 touchdowns last year. So, you know, if he doesn't drop off from that number by a huge rate, he'll probably be there. You know, he's blessed with receivers, and we've got a fun offense now. So, yeah, Kyle King. Also, last stat about Kyle King, which is sort of fun. I looked up the quarterback with the highest passing yards in a single game. It's Kyle King, and that game was the national championship game.
And how many was it? What was the number?
Over 300. I don't have the number in front of me.
Dang.
Wasn't it like 430 actually?
I'll bring it up. 463 pass yards versus North Central.
Amazing.
What insane is that?
Yeah, and it's not like, okay, like whatever, you did it versus like Howard Payne. No, he did it in the national championship game. So that was really cool.
Which probably made the Howard Paynes of the world feel better. It's like, we did better than the backup team in the title game.
So I'll go back to defense now. Y'all are making everything difficult on me. I think I need to go for a D-line. Here's a fun one. Silvio Diaz.
He was on my list too.
Just really dominant.
Baller.
Yeah, absolutely terror for people in the backfield. Do we want to tell our story about Silvio?
No, we don't.
We don't.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait,
I-
is this an on the
Which
field
story is it?
This is an off the field story.
I'm not sure which story you're talking about.
Was I there?
You were there.
No, I'm good.
Can I tell it?
No.
Okay, fun guy. That's what I'll say. Silvio Diaz, fun guy. All right.
We'll say that for the Kane Taylor episode.
All right.
Oh.
Andy.
All right. Well, I guess let's see. I'm gonna take Stag Bowl MVP Blake Jackson. I mean, just what's not already been said about him? I mean, got us that championship that we've been looking for. Just dude was a baller. It was great. Yeah.
It's a shame that we didn't get more years of him. He was there at the same time as Zach Anderson, and Zach was great. He's got some good numbers, but I just never got it. I always thought Blake Jackson looked like the better one, and he kind of showed it. So
And just saying, screw the NCAA.
Yeah,
yes, screw the NCAA.
that's right. Screw the NCAA. We actually, folks, we just logged out for like 2 seconds and we logged back in, and I don't remember whose pick it is.
It would be yours.
Oh, it's my
Yeah.
pressure. Okay. Let's see. What have I not? I'm gonna go with my defensive line here. And I have to give a shout out to Nick Haveman because it seems like everywhere I moved after college, he moved to that area too. So I thought he was following me or something. But I am going to go with what seems to be the last player ever to be allowed to wear the number 69. That would be Big Country Ryan Kyle.
Love it.
Oh, okay. Never mind. There was one after him that wore the number, but I'm still going with Big Country. Because living in a dorm with that guy freshman year was a trip.
All right, what's your next pick?
Next pick, I'm gonna have to say I'm gonna go with kicker.
All right,
Okay.
And I know y'all were talking kickers in the group chat, but it's one of the first so
Is that where we're going with this?
Well, I've got two that I'm picking between here. If I wanted the game-winning ceiling field goal as time expires from 50 yards out, I would go with Joel Munoz. But I got to go with Seth Prohaska because, I mean, let's be honest here.
Yes,
you're gonna have fun at the game. I do want to give Joel a shout out though, because when we had the North Carolina Wesleyan game where there was freezing rain, Weston Savell called it the first and only couch crew cuddle. So everyone huddled together and we sang the first Noel, but we sang Joel as he kicked the field goal. So
yeah, if you're going for an all vibes team, then Seth Prohaska is 100% up there.
Well, it's like what you said about Brady. They fed off of the couch crew.
Yeah. I think he only played one season, and then he was like, actually, I'm going to go off and play soccer now. And then it was like, no, kidding.
Maybe not.
I'm going to go play soccer at a different school.
But he left his mark.
And you know what I bet if you stuck Seth
in our hearts.
If you took Seth today and stuck him on a field, he would obliterate the Seth that we knew. Like
100%.
Seth Prohaska and Quincy Daniels are two people that could probably beat the crap out of their college self. Whereas if we got in a fight with our college selves, we'd be sore for a while.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
All right, Andy, back to you. Wait, no. Did you do two, Garrett?
I did too.
You did, yeah.
Okay. I think it's time that we give some love to the O-line.
All right.
They never give enough love because, everybody just says, oh, yeah, they're the big guys. They're the Hogs. Well, they're the reason we're there. I am going to go. I think this is going to be my vibes pick. Big Mike Gobert.
Oh, yeah.
He and I were in a whatever. I don't even remember what the class it was. It was a PE class, and we were the only two dudes in the class. And I believe it was literally called like aerobic walking or something like that.
Okay.
He was my predecessor as Nathan Berryman's roommate too.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. Well, now I'm going to try to be a little bit strategic here and look at what positions y'all pick. See if there's
strategery.
Strategery. See if I can hold off in any. And I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to go to pick a DB since the actual one DB I picked, I placed as a kicker and a punter. I'm going to go with Chris Brown. He was there from 13 and 14 and then 16 and 17. He's fourth all time in picks. Second in pick sixes, just an all-around kind of menace as a cornerback, which is, I feel like, something we've not always really had. So yeah, Chris Brown. And then I'm going to double that up. And
he had some good hits too, like Rihanna.
Oh, Lord. Oh, not that one. And the second one I'm going to pick is Josh Kubiak.
Yes.
2006. He was on the all-decade team for the 2000s that D3Football.com put out. So, yeah, Chris Brown and Josh Kubiak are my two picks.
Ooh.
And
okay. Let's see. Let's go. I got to go with linebacker Eric Henry. I think he may have been just as good as Jarrell.
Ooh.
I mean, they were on the same team, at least for 07. And I think he even went on to 08. He was like, if Jarrell was there, Eric was right there next to him. It was amazing. I was like, that was at least for sure they were the best tandem we've ever had.
Very cool. All right.
Garrett. I hope we get Jarrell on here. I did message him a couple days ago because I just want to talk to him about how weird it was to be such a fan of a player on a team that I just root against so hard.
I don't know if you want to get him on there now. He might kill us for not going number one.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm gonna go with offensive line while we're at it. My Mount Rushmore here, just because it's the four names that came to the top of my head. So I'm just gonna give shout outs to him. Aaron Grill, who might be on the podcast too. I don't know. Dustin Davis, just solid dude, really cool guy. He transferred in from Tarleton, and I didn't meet him through football. I met him because he was a Roman guard in Easter pageant, beating the mess out of me on the cross. Max Taylor, because it's hard to beat Maximus. I'm gonna go with Houston Texan Nate Minkin.
Ooh, I thought he was a Philly Eagle.
We're forgetting
a little bit of both.
Yeah, I was sparing Andy that reminder.
Oh yes, yeah. He got unfortunate with Chip Kelly leaving and the system changing. I'd have loved to see what happened if Kelly stuck around. But yeah.
I also try to drown as many recent Houston Texans memories as I can with old ones. So that's one.
Yeah. Oh, understood. Yeah. Also, it on the power rankings of dudes who blew up and got way bigger and stronger when they left, Nate's up there. He's certainly transformed in NFL size.
He did.
I don't know how, but it was amazing.
I had him in several classes, and season ends, and he leaves class for 2 or 3 months, goes down to Austin, starts working out, and then he came back for finals, and I was like, what just happened?
Yeah. No, I remember I watched the Baylor Pro Day, and I'm like, no, is that? Oh my. Yeah.
I just remember the next time we saw him, after he went to Houston, and he showed up, he was walking past us at that tailgate, and we were all like, oh.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have
Is it me?
No, wait. You're right.
So.
I'm an idiot.
No worries.
Okay, I just wait till y'all say my name, and then I go.
Well, I swear if you take the person I was about to say.
Ooh, now I got to really think about what I want to do now. I think I'm going to go D-line.
Okay.
Is that safe? Or is that what you would
look for? No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. I want to go with Joey Longoria, 2-time All-American and Gallardi finalist.
Was he was on that 2017 defensive line, wasn't he?
I believe that is correct.
That might be the most if we were talking about units, team groups or whatever you want to call them, that might be the single most dominant, that D line. Tedrick had graduated the year before. I'm like, okay, our defense might take a little step back, losing Tedrick.
Nope.
And it was like they took 10 steps forward.
Yeah.
I don't know how. All of the ones who had remained just got so much better. That team had no offense that year. We struggled with quarterbacks, but there were many games where our defense was outscoring the other team's offense.
Yep.
Based on really that defensive line who just lived there. It was like we only would rush the 4 D linemen, but it felt like we were sitting our linebackers because that's how much pressure they were on, and allowed us to then drop our linebackers back into coverage. So all of a sudden the guy can't find a guy open and he's got people chasing him at the same time. It really felt like that year our defense had 15 people on the field. It was amazing.
It was weird. I didn't understand how good that was.
No, I didn't, but it was a lot of fun. All right. Well, now I'm going to pick the guy that I was going to pick. I'm going for a tight end here. I'm not picking this guy based on stats. I'm not picking this guy based on vibes. I didn't even know the guy. I'm just picking this guy
Don't you dare.
Based on one catch he made.
Oh.
But he's one person I know other than Ladero that has a play named after him. The Catch.
Yes.
And I'm going Walter Sharp, tight end.
Yes.
The quarterback, or the tight end who caught the game-winning touchdown versus Mount Union in 2004 on the road and put our football program on the map.
Somebody in the know told me he ran the wrong route too.
Oh, no way. Maybe that's why he was there.
Well, that's
if
fine
that's
by
true.
me.
If that's true, and I heard that at practice the next week, they were like, "That was amazing, but don't ever run that way."
Oh man, I love it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and make a second offensive pick. I'm gonna use this for my wild card. I'm going KJ Miller.
Oh.
You can find some other people ahead of him on the stat line, but he's another guy who's coming back next year. He dominated in the championship game last year. He's already second on receptions. The dude just finds a way to get open. He's so much fun to watch. Yep, KJ Miller. That's who I'm going with.
Cool.
Okay, so it's back to me.
Yep.
I think I am just gonna go for a wild card here, and I'm gonna give my quarterback able to just ball and throw it down the field as far as he can for both times. To add with Brandon Jordan, I'm going Damian Davis.
Oh yes!
They're gonna burn everyone.
OK State. OK State.
That play, maybe against Sol Ross, it was like 1 second left before halftime, and they just threw the bomb up with the 25-yard line.
Yeah.
And he goes 75 yards and just catches it in the end zone right in front of us.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was the greatest thing I've ever seen.
His stats I was looking at, he has the number 1 and number 2 longest touchdown receptions in crew history, a 90 and a 91-yard touchdown both times. That was a fun year when Ladero Bailey had Damian Davis on one side and he had, was it Irvin on the other?
I think that's right.
Yeah, that was just unbelievable. So much fun. That was like really the first year it felt like where the offense had started to open up for crew football, and it became less than just like option left, option left.
We had some passing going on.
He had some passing with OK State. He was Dez's backup at OK State, right? That's what it was.
My understanding, yes, and apparently he was at that party that Dez and all those guys got in trouble for.
That's how he found his way down to Belton.
It's a good warm up for the block or Avenue D.
Yeah. One of my favorite stories about him was he was in a class with Nate Outland, and they asked him, like, everyone's kind of introducing themselves, and he goes, "Yeah, this is who I am. I'm here to play football. I plan on being the first pro football player from UMHB." And Nate kind of raises his hand and goes, "Actually, there's a guy." And Damien's like, "Who?" He's a linebacker for the Colts. He goes, "Oh, okay. Well, I'll be second then."
That's great.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to take one of my wild card defense spots here. All right. One of the best plays I've ever seen by a crew football player was they held a debate for the student body president race in the sub, and they had undecided, quote unquote, concerned students who were going to read questions that were burning on their hearts. Except they forgot and they printed them on UMHB letterhead to hand to the students. So it was kind of obvious they didn't know what they're asking. This player walks in, reads the question, which was, how do you plan to bridge the general population of student with the athletic community? And then drops it and walks out without even hearing the answer. And that man was David Danforth. And I still laugh every time I think about it.
I forgot about that.
He was on defense, and and when I started laughing, I blanked on which position it was, but
I'm pretty sure I
wouldn't want to be on offense if he was defending.
He was D-line, you said, Andy?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I will say this, as a band nerd from Canyon High, I hate Robinson High School, but Robinson redeemed themselves by giving us David Danforth and Jerome Baer.
All right, what's your next pick?
Great question. Let's see.
You have
running.
a running back, linebacker, and DB open.
Oh man, I didn't I already pick linebacker.
You did, but you have a
Oh.
second spot. Yeah, there's
Whoops,
two.
I didn't do my homework. All right, so let's see here. I'm gonna go with a running back. I should say Chocolate Bear because he's just one of my favorite people, but I'm actually gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave him up for grabs, and I'm gonna go with the only running back I ever saw who could talk the Belton police out of not busting Avenue D, and that was Mr. Peyton Price.
Love it.
Nice.
All right, Andy.
Okay. Well, I think we've held on too long. The man that just crushed Hardin Simmons' dreams. We've got to go with it, Mr. Anthony Avila.
I love it. I can hear the crowd now. I can see it. I can feel it.
My
running.
blood pressure's going up.
Like, just going, they're not going to make it, like realizing what had happened where they thought they were going to spike it, but they couldn't. They had no timeouts. They're running, like, what's happening? And then those sweethearts from Abilene just having their hearts crushed. And
Amazing.
will live on.
And it was our reunion. Like the fact that was when we had our reunion was for that moment.
I am still mad to this day. They have released several non-semifinal and championship game like in their entireties. Neither that one or last year's Hardin Simmons game have been released, and like those are the only two I want to see.
Wow.
Like, give me those games. I want to see those.
I could only watch them again knowing how they end. Like,
well, yeah.
I couldn't do it again.
I mean, knowing like we played so poorly, the majority, well, at least maybe not the majority of that first game for sure, until the 59 minutes and 59 seconds. But then the first half of last year, and I just want to know, I want to see how it played out on the film, and like our guys in the booth and the radio, like what were they saying? I want to hear that.
I want to know, and I'm sure this has been looked up before, is have we ever trailed that badly since like 2000? Because even in our beatdowns and playoffs, we still managed to.
You mean HSU?
No, just against anyone being down 28-0.
Well, you're thinking of two different games right now. We were down 28-0 last
year.
Right,
28-7.
And that's what Avila was the year before that.
I know.
Yeah.
But we mentioned that last one, and so that was what I was piggybacking off of. Was have we ever trailed like that ever?
Well, I think there was a Whitewater game or two that had been pretty bad.
But we had a goose egg on the board. I mean, that was like we at least had a field goal or something. I don't know. I feel like that was like the worst trailing I had ever seen us, at least in person.
It felt the worst for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so I have got to finish up my defense, I think. So I'm going to go D-line, and I'm going to go Haston Adams.
Nice pick.
Big old dude in the middle of that D-line that was a part of that 2017 just incredible lineup. He won a championship as well. Just another fun dude who terrorized people. And so then other than Haston Adams, I got to go linebacker. I was looking at Tevin Jones. He played 16 through 19, just all over the place, tackling people left and right.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to go someone older, way older. So we're not, so recency bias. I never got to watch the guy. But you know what? He was on the all-decade team. For D3football.com. I'm going Preston Meyer, who played from 1999 to 2002. Just a great player that, he without players like Preston Meyer, we wouldn't be where we are today. They helped set down the culture of the crew. So yeah, shout out to the old guys.
Cool.
Nice.
All right, Andy, I think you have two more picks left. Yeah.
I think this will wrap up the members of the all-decade team. I'm going to go with defensive back Derek Williams.
Okay.
I don't believe I ever got to see him play. I think he was before my time, but the stats are there, and the fact that he's on that team, yeah.
All right, Garrett, we're rounding the post here. These are your last two picks.
My last two picks?
A linebacker and a defensive back spot open.
All right. So since I'm a new father who's short on sleep and my brain has forgotten which positions these guys played, I had just wrote down a few defensive players.
That's fine.
and
We'll just
we
throw
can
them in
reassign.
wherever. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. I gotta say let's see. I'm gonna go. My two defensive players are gonna go to the two guys who followed me outside at a party to tell me they voted for me in an election while there were watermelons falling off the roof and hitting people in the head, and they walked through those falling watermelons just to tell me that. So Brinson Bristow and Zach Dunham,
All right.
you guys are
Cool.
my last two picks. Eventually, somebody fell onto one of those cards, I think.
All right, Andy. What's your last pick?
I guess I'm going with the tight end. I'm going to go with the only person who legitimately scared me on the team. I thought he was 35 years old at the time. He did not have the best stats, but he would get you that first down if you needed it. Number 10, Peter Medlock.
Yep.
All right.
Dude,
He was
scared
the
crap out of
terrifying.
me.
He came in to get coffee one night, and he was so stern with how he ordered. I was just like, I better not mess this order up. He's gonna slap it out of my hand.
All right. So for my final pick, this is kind of my only vibes pick, or it was supposed to be a vibes pick because I like the guy so much, and he's also a terrifying person, or he can be, especially he used to be. And then as I was looking it up, I didn't realize he was actually like really good. So next time I see him, I'm gonna have to let him know. I was like, hey man, I didn't know you were actually good. He was an All-American, first team All-American offensive tackle. Caleb Woodall. That's who I'm going. Yeah. Never went to school with him.
I did.
Yeah.
We interned together at Temple Bible Church. And then we were also a part of a small group together at TBC as well. Just a really good guy who you wouldn't want to meet in a shady back alley.
No, death metal musician. The dude is a death metal musician too.
Yeah. Imagine just death metal musician meets like
Steven Seagal.
Yeah, giant, offensive lineman football player. Just truly like could instill so much terror in people. And so it was so hilarious to intern with him at a junior high ministry, because if he needed to turn it on and get kids in line, he would turn it on and get kids in line.
Dude, my freshman year, like I had seen him on campus, but I hadn't met him yet. And when the rumor went around that we were going to be the Doves, he was like the first person I heard it from. The door to the McLean laundry room flies open and he comes barreling out and he's like laughing to tears. He's like, the Doves, what the heck? And like, that was our first conversation. And I'm looking at this guy thinking, I can't see this guy playing as a Dove. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, I love it. Well, here's what we'll do. I
have a blank on a wild card offense, it looks like.
You do?
I do. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to draft kicker Matt Fields to kick for the other team.
Oh,
burn. Okay. Oh my goodness. Well, I think here's what we're going to do. I'm going to make a graphic of our teams and I'm going to post them on Twitter, and we're going to have a Twitter poll. We'll let people vote on what team they think is best, or just
love that.
they like the best. Yeah, that's
or who was the biggest snub.
Yeah, actually, let's talk about that real quick. Is there anyone that like you really liked that just you didn't get to pick, you feel like was snubbed that we need to talk about before we hang up here?
I think I named like 4 people per.
Yes, you did.
I mean, none of us took Quincy. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's the one that feels like it's sticking out.
I think PJ is a big one.
Yeah. PJ was number 1 on the leftover receivers for me.
Mm-hmm.
He still has the all-time record for most touchdowns.
I noticed I had on my notes when I was wild carding the defense with Brinson Bristow and Zach Dunham. I had Micah Spicer written down too, and I forgot to say his name.
Okay. Speaking of Micah, what about Micah Hackett?
He was on there, yeah.
Yeah. Player. Well, he was player of the game for the last championship. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe Keith Gibson.
Yeah. There's, and we still have, I feel like, so many good receivers left. We said PJ Williams, Wyke Walker, Janelle Reed,
Brendan Martin, Bryce Wilkerson.
Yes.
I mean, man.
And all of those receivers, for the most part, big exception being PJ, they're all kind of recent players, which I think just goes, there goes my computer, which goes to show just like how far our offense has come in the last couple of years.
We can't leave out, I didn't realize how good his stats were, especially for the time, quarterback Cody Fredenberg. I mean, come on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He won the trophy. He won the Glardy Trophy.
I think he was just a finalist. I don't think he won it.
Yeah, we don't have a winner.
Yeah.
I
was looking at the list literally today.
Yeah.
Could have sworn he won it. Oh well.
No, I wish.
Coach.
Oh, that's right. We wanted to. So, all right, explain your rules for this coach.
All right.
Yeah.
The rules are simple. You have to pick a coach who's never coached at UMHB, and they cannot be an FBS coach.
Okay, fine.
Not be a current FBS coach. They can be a retired FBS coach, but they cannot be a current FBS coach. So we saw McMurray tried that, and it didn't do well.
You picked last, so I guess now it's Andy. Yeah.
All right, fine. So it can't be somebody who's coached here, and it can't be an FBS coach?
No, and the reason is, folks, obviously no one wants to say, oh, Nick Saban's going to coach D3. The other thing is, my pick would be Mac Brown to coach us to win a Stag Bowl, while Lance Leopold, who coached Whitewater, continues to beat Texas with Kansas. It's a full circle thing.
Okay, well, in that case, I am going to go down into high school.
Oh, okay. I like
former Crusader,
Oh,
Tony Salazar, who's at Austin Westlake, his brand new head coach.
That's
good pick.
Great pick. Yeah. That's good. I like that.
That's really good.
I'll go next. I'm really debating between two. If I want to just pick the best non-FBS coach, I think I'd go Greg Bowl. North Dakota State. I've got, I worked at a summer camp with his daughter at Pine Cove. And I remember when I met him, he had just started working at North Dakota State. So nobody knew who he was. And she was just like, yeah, my dad used to be at Nebraska, but things got bad. Now he has to go to North Dakota. It's kind of tough on our family. And just kind
cold
of
to colder.
Like, wow. And then a couple years later, I'm like, wait, hey, he won a championship. All right, well, things worked out. And then he just kept winning. Well, I guess it worked out. But I'm going to go with somebody who coached in the ASC, but not for UMHB. I'm going to go with Hal Mumm.
Air Raid.
Inventor of the Air Raid, kind of mentored, what's his face? The Pirate.
He's been everywhere, hadn't he?
It would work better for us than it did for them.
And I would just love to see the Air Raid offense with our talent. That would be a lot of fun.
I want to see the Pirate trying not to get in trouble at UMHB. Speaking of Nebraska, y'all, have y'all seen the commercial with DeColdis Crawford?
Yes.
That is the greatest thing.
That is what NIL deals were made for.
Yes.
Okay, Hal Mumm's coaching record is crazy. He started at Moody High in Corpus, Aransas Pass High. He went to the West Texas A&M, UTEP, Copperas Cove High, Iowa Wesleyan, Valdosta State, Kentucky, Southeastern Louisiana, New Mexico State, McMurray, SMU as an OC, back to Belhaven for his second stint in the conference, OC at Jackson State. Then he was 2 years, I guess it was just 1 year with the XFL Renegades. And now, who the heck was this? Well, he was a development league coach last year. So,
also when he was at McMurray, he beat UTSA. So
that's true. And honestly, I think if he didn't have all those health problems going on at the time, I think he probably could have done a lot better, focused a lot more. He's doing well.
Well, Garrett, this was your idea, so I assume you've been one specifically.
No, I just want to hear y'all's. No, I'm just kidding. I've got Colby Carthel, the son of legendary Don Carthel.
Okay.
So Colby Carthel coaches SFA, and so when I grew up in Canyon, West Texas A&M, fun fact, I'm a Canyonite who has never been to a West Texas A&M sporting event, and part of it was because they were so bad at football growing up that they had 20 people in a stadium that seats a lot. And so then I got to high school. I was busy every weekend competing and stuff, and I just schedule didn't let me go. But Don Carthel took that job, coached them to where they were filling out the seats. It spilled over into the lawn. They filled the whole bowl. tore down the goalpost at a few games. He came to get groceries
Nice.
at the store I was working at. He was just the nicest guy. Well, he had a very similar situation to Mike Leach, only it was even bigger BS. Like, he had a situation like Coach Pete's with the Subaru, but they just straight up fired him. It was like absolute garbage. His son was at Commerce when they went to play for the D2 championship and win that, and then moved on to SFA and nearly beat Tech last year. There was one game where I don't remember he got COVID or injured, what the deal was, but he couldn't be there. They called his dad, Don, who was still up in the Panhandle on a tractor, took the call, leaves the field, drives down, just leaves what he's doing, goes down there, coaches him to win the game. So the Carthel family's got some good legends there, and I would go with that.
I love
That's amazing. I've never heard that story.
That was totally worth adding the coach pick in just for that.
The only reason I added it.
I was wondering what you were doing there.
Well, actually, I was genuinely curious because it's like, so it's exciting because we're about to have the second ever coach. We don't know what to expect. So I was like, who would y'all have picked? So,
Yeah.
Well, let me rephrase that. I would have picked Larry Harmon. I'm not saying I wouldn't have picked that. I'm just saying for this, what we would have picked.
Right.
I want to see Harmon putting 90 points on people again.
Oh man.
Well, okay. I mean, 91-3 in that game that he coached when Pete was not there. And they interviewed him after the game. And what does he say? The first line, I'm not particularly happy with the way our defense played.
They let that.
We just won 91-3.
Yeah. This will be interesting. Seeing him take on the reins. I don't know. Well,
the second worst A&M game I have ever seen, when we lost to Oklahoma 77-0 my sophomore year of high school. They asked Bob Stoops afterwards, it's like, don't you think that was a little much piling it on? And his quote was, it's not our job to stop us. I feel like that's a little bit like what Larry Harmon was saying.
Who was it? Crap. Somebody else said something one time.
At one point.
Somebody else said something. Got it. Wise words.
I went blank. Just you can delete that, I guess.
Well,
all right, we can't do this for baseball because my crew baseball would be like, all right, we're gonna stick Nathan Berryman, Kane Taylor, and Brett Myers out in the field to see what happens.
I don't even know if I can name all the positions in baseball.
Neither could some of the past coaches we've had. But
I don't think I could do this for any sport at UMHB other than football. Maybe basketball, just because there's only 5 players. But I think
the only issue is how far back did basketball actually go? I mean,
yeah, that's gonna. Yeah, I would be terrible on that episode.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, Riley Zayas could come on here and name every athletic program in the school's history and give you his all-time stats.
I'm just glad that I don't have to be the leader of that anymore. I'm so glad.
Well, this was a lot of fun, y'all. Thanks for humoring me in this. There's draft episodes are a big part of some of my favorite podcasts. So I thought it'd be super fun to bring it to UMHB football, just to give us a chance to kind of talk about some of the most entertaining guys. I'm looking at our team. I'm pretty certain that Garrett's team would not win in a tournament. But I'd want to hang out with, though. I will say.
They got me the as an RA, I think they would win the title for most disciplinary visits I would have to make in McLean.
Yeah. Definitely have a fun team.
Yeah.
So all I'm curious about now is if somebody like gets mad that they get snubbed and they somehow find out about it, that would be sort of
because
funny.
of the purple gold and getting old podcast.
Please let us know.
Please. If we like disrespected somebody.
Jarrell's gonna be like, you passed me up. I'm like, you played for the Colts. What else do you need?
Yeah.
Didn't he also save somebody's life one time? Like
probably.
Yes, at the airport.
Yeah.
It was like on Facebook. And I just remember like sending a screenshot like, did y'all see this thing with Jarrell Freeman? And then like it was on the news all of a sudden. It was crazy. Oh my goodness.
I'm glad it wasn't an HSU player. They've been too slow to get there on time. All right.
If you can read this.
I can't.
Shoot.
I can see the stadium though.
Okay. Well,
we're counting down the day. I know what
your
you're
countdown. 17 days, 19 hours to the first game.
All right. Are you going to be at the first game?
I plan on it.
I will too. Hey, you know what's funny? I get home tonight late and I went in to see Bailey still in bed.
Are we still recording?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't. This can be. If you want
I
to
have something.
start
I
the
have
pod,
something to say
go
for
it.
recording too
Great.
here in a minute.
And she I don't know, they had somehow your daughter Allie had come up, and so she was just like, when are we going to see Allie again? Are we going to go see her at a football game again? You know, Allie's in kindergarten now. So
That was crazy.
all that to be said, Bailey would love to see Allie if she comes down for that.
Sounds good.
Well, give it
Okay.
a couple of years, they'll have a younger friend running around behind them.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
then the school can really be terrified.
So about 2 weeks ago, I get a text message, and it's from Tyler, and all it says is, "So I'm looking at flights to Milwaukee," and nothing else has been said. I turned to Abby and I said, "Tyler just told me he's looking at flights to Wisconsin. A Crusader never walks alone. If he actually goes, I'm obligated to go with him." And she gives me that look like, okay. And then I just text him. I said, "Let's do this." And he goes, "You're picking up what I'm putting down."
Your text was, I just read this text to Abby. She gave me it was like a nondescript look or something. That's it. It was not approval. It was like she didn't immediately say no.
Right.
And I was like, sweet. That's what I was looking for. I'm gonna do this thing. So yeah, it's gonna be fun to have a big person road trip up to Wisconsin for
Right.
game. So yeah, I plan on being there for
You
the first
texted me and I started having flashbacks of the -2-degree snowstorm that we were in.
I know. I didn't text you till later because months ago when I had this first idea was just in my head as a possibility, and I mentioned it to you in passing. You're like, no, never again.
Hopefully September 10th will be a nice 75 degrees, not -2.
Yeah, it'll probably be great when y'all are there.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to deal with their fans again either. I will say, y'all pray for my blood pressure. I realized that the day that A&M has to play Arkansas, which almost always goes into overtime, will be the day we play HSU, just like last year. And I will be in Lubbock with Nathan Berryman at the Texas Tech versus Texas game. And then I have to go perform a show in Lubbock that night right after. So my heart's just going to be beating out of my chest.
Well, God
Good
bless
luck
you.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on that note of talking about the HSU rivalry week, I guess I can say it's almost time for Crusader football, and HSU
Still sucks.